Welcome to the University of Waterloo. On behalf of the university, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to Canada's first Policy Datafest, organized in partnership with Innovation, Science and Economic Development Canada and the Royal Bank of Canada. So, before we start, just a few words. A natural question, why a Policy Datafest? There have, of course, been numerous Datafests hosted by different universities. But all of these Datafests have been focused on private sector issues. There is a need for Datafests or hackathons that promote the hacking of available open data. It's good for government. They get to see policy analysis from the perspective of young minds with new ideas and amazing analytic abilities. And it's good for society. Students get exposed to questions that are of contemporary policy relevance, which is invaluable from a professional perspective. This type of experiential education, which the University of Waterloo is renowned for, is precisely what is required to help smoothly transition students from academia to the real world. And in this respect, a Datafest exhibiting the skills of art students is particularly timely. A common perception is that statistical and data analysis is the exclusive confine of STEM disciplines. By the end of today's presentations, we would have changed that thought process. But the arts have an extremely rich tradition of data analytics and data science. This should not be surprising because we are the weaver of stories and the keeper of facts. Students in the social sciences and humanities have the training to interpret findings from complex statistical analysis and therefore give insights and form narratives that are invaluable to the public and private sectors. I am very pleased to say that this is what you'll find in today's unique Datafest. And there are other data-related issues that naturally come under the purview of the humanities and social sciences. In today's world of big data, there are important issues that must be addressed regarding regulation and governance. For example, both the public and private sectors are facing questions on how data can be widely released and studied without violating individual privacy. The key is devising optimal regulation that accomplishes this while encouraging and stimulating innovation. The rise of fake news and social media manipulation are also areas that need more involvement from arts researchers and are naturally part of data science and analysis. We will not be able to address all the questions today, but today's Datafest is a small step towards this goal. You'll witness some exemplary presentations from different teams of students from economics, English, the Master of Global Governance, the Master of Public Service, psychology, and sociology, a pretty diverse mix. With that, I welcome you once again to the University of Waterloo. There are many thanks in order, which I will come to at the end of today's event. But before we commence, I would like to introduce and thank today's panel of distinguished judges. Please do hold your applause until after complete introducing everyone. I will note and emphasize that they're extremely busy individuals, and I really can't say enough to emphasize how significant it is for all of them to come to Waterloo from Ottawa and Toronto. So I thank them for their participation and support for this event. So coming from this order, it's my great pleasure, and once I introduce you, if you could just give your best wave. Mike's very good at waving. So it's my pleasure to introduce Mike Henry. And again, just hold the applause till, I know you want to applaud everybody, but we have there'll be a lot of applause time then. My pleasure to introduce Mike Henry, who's the Executive Vice President, Chief Data Officer of Scotiabank. My pleasure to introduce Paul Thompson, who's the ADM at ICED and our University of Waterloo champion. That is a magnificent wave. So I'm also pleased to introduce Joanne Curiati, who's the Director General of Innovation Canada, also at ICED. I'm pleased to introduce Susan Tabari, Chief Information Officer and Assistant Deputy Minister Ontario Ministry of Education. I'm pleased to introduce Ramesh Siramani, Senior Vice President of Knowledge and Transformation of RBC. I'm pleased to introduce Nick Correa, Vice President, Strategy and Corporate Development, George Weston Limited. And finally, my great pleasure to introduce Ian Klugman, CEO of Communitech. Okay, now let's give them a very warm Waterloo welcome. Thank you once again for your time and coming here. So in terms of presentations, each team has 5 minutes. I will be strict about the 5 minutes. I'll give you a 1-minute warning. And it'll be followed by a 2-minute question and answer session from the panel. So the way it works is that instead of using these mics, we'll just use this mic. And once you present, please pass it on. Our audiovisual person has told me she's very strict, and if you're not speaking to mic, she'll just stop everything, so please don't do that. Okay, so 1 mic, and we'll share this mic in a true Waterloo spirit. Okay, so before we start, students, this is to you. You have been wonderful. This is a new concept. You didn't have to participate in it, but for some reason, you bought into the concept. You have worked, I'm sure it had nothing to do with the prize money. You have worked very hard, and now it's your time to shine. Best of luck, and show the world what University of Waterloo Arts is all about. Okay? Best of luck.